Netflix just bought Mortal Kombat. You know what that means, blue hair for Sonya, baby. Also, she's the main character now and married to Jax. Well done, King, not gonna lie. Liu Kang is her sassy best friend and he's in love with Kung Lao. That's right, they have a secret but intense relationship. Raiden does not approve. No, but seriously, there was a bid for Warner Brothers and Netflix won, which means they're gonna be in charge, most likely. So what does that mean for the games? What does it mean for movies and possible TV shows? Probably a lot more of them, to give you a short answer. But yeah, let's discuss all the details in today's video. What does this new buyout mean for Mortal Kombat fans? Should you be happy? Probably not. Should you be scared? Most likely. Yeah, let's cover it all in today's video. But first, leave a like down below to keep Mortal Kombat safe. Every like below stops this from becoming normal, okay? Also, for anyone new, join the resistance by subscribing to my channel. That's right, if you love Mortal Kombat or just fighting games in general, this is the channel for you. And I'm trying to reach 500,000 subscribers before 2026, so let's do it together. Alright everyone, without any further ado, let's begin. So alright, here we go. Netflix has won the bidding war for WB. That's right, Warner Brothers went up for sale recently. Again, I guess that merger with Discovery didn't go so well. They're still in debt and need to make up that money quick for all the shareholders, and thus the bidding war began. A lot of companies said, hey, I want to buy WB, here's how much I think they're worth, and apparently Netflix came out on top. They won the bidding war for Warner Brothers, which means most likely they're going to be in charge. However, that being said, Warner Brothers could always say no, and that's a possibility. Don't get it twisted. Alright, I'll cover more details later in this video, but for now just know nothing is guaranteed, but it is most likely. Chances are Netflix will own WB very soon, which could be terrible or it could be okay. It's never gonna be good unless we get a Castlevania level show. That could be pretty peak. I know diehard Castlevania fans hate that series, but for me personally, that Netflix show was pretty dang good. So if that happened to Mortal Kombat, I'd be a happy camper. But unfortunately, you all know the meme, right? Netflix adaptations tend to go like this, which now has me wondering if Mortal Kombat 1 gender swapped its characters on purpose before Netflix could do it. You know what I mean? That kind of makes sense, and what 4D chess that would be. Now real quick, it's worth mentioning that WB has yet to confirm, right? They haven't said yes, so just keep that in mind. Nothing is official yet, but honestly, they're most likely getting bought. Because WB is in severe debt somehow, which is crazy to me. I feel like any average person could print millions with Scooby-Doo alone, which WB has always owned, and yet they made Velma instead. That's right, they own Scooby-Doo and used it to make a show without Scooby-Doo. That's the people we're dealing with, okay? These are the ones who ran the business, which is why we're here today. Netflix is buying WB because they failed to make money with the many expensive IPs they own. What does that mean for Mortal Kombat games though? Probably nothing, just gonna be honest with you. Netflix is not known for making games. Like seriously, name 10 big games that Netflix has made. I can't think of any. I know the Netflix app has some games on it if you want to play those, but honestly, who does? To me, that's always felt like restaurant games, you know, the little iPad tablets they have, you can play games on them at like Olive Garden and stuff. To me, that's what Netflix games feel like. Why am I here? Not to play games, that's for sure. So yeah, NetherRealm and the Mortal Kombat games are most likely safe. The worst that Netflix could do is shove their own employees inside of those studios, which unfortunately is a possibility that definitely could happen, and if it does, we could see some big changes that not many people are happy with. Like mentioned earlier, Sonya gets blue hair and wants to speak with your manager, okay? Also, Kitana's the new main character, and Liu Kang just calls her amazing the entire game while doing nothing important himself. Then Johnny Cage has to acknowledge his privilege all the time, and let's be realistic, he probably still gets killed off. Wait, no, Scarlet, look out, you're a redhead, you're not safe, Netflix is coming for you. Alright, all jokes aside, real talk everyone, most of us wanted Mortal Kombat to return to its roots, bring back the darker tone, keep the violence, but make it gritty like the good old days. I think that's what most fans wanted to see, especially after Mortal Kombat 1 did the opposite, right? It became a straight up Marvel movie with way too much humor, too much positive tones, right? The story mode was goofy, over the top. It did feel like an Avengers movie, honestly, which wasn't terrible to be honest, but after experiencing that, I think most Mortal Kombat fans want to go back to the old ways, right? Grittier, darker, but keep the violence. And unfortunately, I feel like Netflix will do the opposite if they're put in charge. I bet they keep the new era going, probably use even more guest characters, while also drastically changing characters we love in many ways we never asked for. Call me a pessimist pessimist if you want, because I am, let's be real, I smile a lot, but I tend to be pretty negative. But even so, this feels like a realistic outcome, and it's got me a bit scared. I think Netflix could change Mortal Kombat for the worse, because typically that's what they do for IPs they don't own, like animes for example. The One Piece anime was a rare exception. I think it was mostly okay, but even then they changed characters' races and genders for no reason. So if they get their hands on Mortal Kombat, that's absolutely gonna happen. Which once again has me scared. I'm shaking in my boots over here, or at least I would be if I wore boots. But here's where things get spicy, okay? In a recent video about a week or so ago, I covered that other companies wanted to buy WB as well, like Paramount for example. That's right, pretty big company, you've likely heard the name before. They have a streaming service, they own tons of smaller studios and publishers, and wanted to purchase WB as well and add that to their collection, right? The old Infinity Gauntlet. However, somehow Netflix swooped in and they're not happy about it. Paramount's not gonna let this go without a fight. They still want WB. In fact, they called this sale unfair, claiming the bidding war was tilted in Netflix's favor and they received a more favorable treatment in a not so fair auction. Yeah, and if true, that's really spicy. Here's a direct quote, let me read it real quick. It has become increasingly clear through media reporting and otherwise that WBD, that's Warner Brothers Discovery, appears to have abandoned the semblance and reality of a fair transaction process, thereby abdicating its duties to stockholders and embarked on a myopic process with a predetermined outcome that favors a single bidder. Several US media outlets have reported on the enthusiasm by WBD management for a transaction with Netflix, and on statements by management that a transaction between WBD and Netflix would be a slam dunk, while also referring to Paramount's bid in a negative light. Ooh, this news sure is spicy. So apparently WB always wanted to get bought by Netflix, and if I had to guess why, it's because their ideals line up. Don't make me say it, I don't want to say it, Netflix is woke. Alright, I like mini shows on Netflix, but it's very woke. And Warner Brothers in recent years is pretty woke too. Even Mortal Kombat started being woke ever since X. A lot of fans don't want to admit that. You want to pretend that Mortal Kombat 1 started this. No, it began in Mortal Kombat X, it peaked in Mortal Kombat 11. That game was the most woke by far. And then for Mortal Kombat 1, it was still woke, but it's on the way down, it seemed. But now Netflix is here and boom, it's gonna spike back up woke again. Which listen, if the gameplay's still amazing, I'll tolerate it, but I don't like woke. It tends to remove things that I enjoy about games. For example, sexy outfits or just villains who are actually evil. I feel like Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung are too humanized in recent games. I want them to be evil. For Pete's sake, NetherRealm keeps trying to normalize the Tarkatans, those filthy toothers, the demon babies from hell. In Mortal Kombat 11, they tried making them likable. Then in Mortal Kombat 1, they made them sympathetic. Come on, let the monsters be monsters. Let the villains be villains. Let the hot women be hot. I feel like woke ruins all these things that I enjoy, so I'm not happy about Netflix either, but that's likely why WB wanted Netflix to buy them, because they're both woke. With Paramount, I honestly don't know. I've done little research into Paramount, and if they're woke or not, maybe they are, but I'm guessing not, which is why WB wanted to be bought by Netflix and not Paramount. But honestly, it's not really up to them. It comes down to the shareholders. They own all the stock and investments, so they ultimately decide who WB should go with. And if it turns out true that WB purposely leaned in Netflix's direction, going against what stockholders want and shareholders want, that could be a big deal. The quote continues, "We remain confident that the Paramount offer would provide the maximum value to WBD stockholders and look forward to the opportunity to continue to engage with you productively in this process. But at this point, we must insist on assurances and steps taken to ensure that a truly fair and independent process is being conducted, both for Paramount's benefit and in the interest of WBD's stockholders." Yep, and there it is. So stockholders, at the end of the day, are the people that companies want to please. I don't like that it works that way, but in this one case, it could work in our favor, because maybe, just maybe, Paramount can convince the stockholders to go with them instead of with Netflix, even though they won the bid. However, I think that only works if they can prove the bid was biased and leaning towards Netflix on purpose and against Paramount on purpose. Honestly, I'm not sure how a bid can be biased though. Isn't it about who wants to spend the most money? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, because I think that's about it for today's video. Netflix wants to buy WB and is getting very close, which means Mortal Kombat could change in a very big way. The games themselves could change in a minor way, but the shows and movies would change in a very big way, because that's Netflix's domain, right? They're known for making shows and movies. With Mortal Kombat, you rest assured they would make a lot of new shows. I can already picture it, right? Lots of movies too. And listen, with the right people in charge, that could actually be fun. I would love to see more movies and more TV shows. Although WB was already doing pretty good in that department. Maybe not with the shows, but with movies, we got a ton, right? Cage Match, Battle of of the Realm, Scorpion's Revenge, the 2021 movie, and the new live action film coming out in the summer, there's lots of Mortal Kombat movie content, just not so many shows. So if Netflix does give us more Mortal Kombat shows without ruining the characters and lore too much, I'd honestly be down. You really do walk a tightrope with Netflix, because you could get Castlevania or you could get Sabrina. Yeah, thanks for watching everyone, and I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like down below if you don't want Mortal Kombat to change, and also comment your thoughts down below as well. Then for anyone new, finish that combo by subscribing and ringing that bell so you never miss any future content. I'm trying to reach 500,000 subscribers before 2026, so let's do it together. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.